The Citadel of Ricks is back, sort of. In this gritty Western-styled episode, forgotten clones rise from the ruins of the Citadel. This isn't your average Rick and Morty adventure. The episode opens with our main Rick and Morty collecting Citadel wreckage. In this opening scene, we can also see our Morty playing with a fidget spinner because he's bored. This is not the last time we see this fidget spinner in this episode. It actually has a gag that pays off at the end, which is pretty funny. While in the midst of all the wreckage, Rick's ship gets damaged. They have to make an emergency landing on one of the nearby asteroids. The asteroid they landed on was actually full of Morty clones. Rick explained that the Citadel was basically a factory for spare bodies, and when the portal reset sucked everyone back into their reality of origin, the only people left in the ruins of the Citadel were clones. Rick and Morty eventually find a landing place to repair their ship, but they have an aggressive encounter with what appears to be a hillbilly Rick, who quickly tells them to leave his property. Our Rick and Morty do, with Rick showing no interest towards this other Rick, and with this, the episode shifts its focus following the hillbilly Rick now. We see this Rick go down to an arcade to trade with some local Mortys, when a group of Ricks invades the town, kidnapping all the Mortys. Hillbilly Rick gets shot, but survives, returning home only to find his place has been trashed by the other Ricks. Seeking revenge, he travels to the ruined Citadel with Arcade and Dr. Morty, who snuck onto his ship. Back at the Citadel, we see one of the Ricks splitting up the prize for the captured Mortys, which is actually portal fluid. Later, we see a group of Ricks playing a game of dice with actual sentient dice, duking it out with boxing gloves. The game is cut short though when Hillbilly Rick and the Mortys show up, starting another shootout. One of the Ricks explains that both the clone Mortys and Hillbilly's Rick stuff are at the center of the Citadel. But during the battle, Dr. Morty ends up getting shot and dies in the Arcade Morty's arms. Hillbilly Rick and Arcade Morty end up finding the missing Mortys, but are quickly captured by the other Ricks, where it's revealed that Hillbilly Rick was actually the Citadel's former head of Morty replication, and is not actually a clone himself, unlike the other Ricks. This sort of makes Hillbilly Rick responsible for what's going on now, since he created the majority of the Rick and Morty clones, sort of making him like their father. The new leader of the Citadel, Gumbo Rick, offers Hillbilly Rick his old job back. Hillbilly Rick accepts and promptly makes a large and mutated clone of Morty, helping release the other Mortys in the process. Hillbilly Rick then leads all the Mortys to a spaceship, sending them away to safety. He tells the Mortys to live their own life and make new non-fabricated memories, leaving himself behind to finish the Citadel once and for all. Following that, we witness an epic montage of Hillbilly Rick taking down Rick clones left and right. Gumbo Rick eventually catches up with an injured Hillbilly Rick. Hillbilly Rick then proceeds to blow up the entire Citadel, leaving nothing behind. Arcade Morty and the spirit of Hillbilly Rick tells the remaining Mortys to decide where home is for each of them, putting the Mortys on their own independent adventure. Once he dropped off all the Mortys and he was the only one left, he returned back to Hillbilly Rick's home and makes it his own. He even set up a grave for Hillbilly Rick and Dr. Morty to honor them. And before the episode ends, we see our original Rick and Morty return back to that asteroid to find Morty's lost fidget spinner, the gag from the opening scene. And before Arcade Morty can even finish the sentence, our Rick and Morty are gone. Lastly, in the post-credit scene, we see the return of the cute fighting dice still battling it out long after all the Ricks were gone. I was not expecting an episode like this to be this early in the season. We finally see a definitive end to the Citadel, along with what happened to all the cloned Rick and Mortys. The Citadel was already basically over, but with this episode, it really makes me believe that we truly won't be seeing any sort of revival of it. Episodes that don't follow our Rick and Morty are usually 50-50 for me, but I'm leaning on this one being one of the best ones, especially due to it being centered around the remaining Citadel. The action scenes in this episode especially stood out to me, and the character of Hillbilly Rick was amazing, from him creating the problem, him having to live with the consequences of it, and then him finishing it. It was a really great plot to follow, especially for just a single episode. But I'm really interested to know what y'all thought about this episode. I have other Rick and Morty videos up on my channel right now. As always, I'm just a side character, and I will see y'all next time.